The best music for hard-working people. Get the job done with Radio.
And now your featured presentation.
Hey there, rockers! Welcome to Bands, the good, bad, and the ugly, with Dr. Dawg on the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life. Your host, Dr. Dawg, is locked and loaded. So let's do this.
I am my mother's daughter. You were always your father's son. I thought the lights shone brighter just for us, but I was wrong. I can't give you what you want. I am my sister's keeper. You were never your brother's friend. I thought that we could make it back to where it all began, but that is not how this will end. You don't know where to begin, and I don't know how this should end. Why do you avoid my eyes? Are you afraid of what you'll find beneath the lights? Whoa, whoa, beneath the lights. Whoa, I can't tell just what you're thinking. Can't read the mask that you've put on. I thought that we could fix the broken mess that we've become, but I don't know you anymore. You don't know where to begin, and I don't know how this should end. You're so tired of acting fine, and I'm so done with playing pretend. Why do you avoid my eyes? Are you afraid of what you'll find beneath the lights? Whoa, beneath the lights. Whoa, beneath the lights. Beneath the lights. Trying to keep to ourselves. Remember our biggest regrets. Swallow words best left unsaid, but I'm sorry it's stuck in my mouth. You don't know where to begin, and I don't know quite how to end. You're so tired of acting fine, and I'm so done with playing pretend. You don't know where to begin, and I don't know how this should end. You're so tired of acting fine, and I'm so done with playing pretend. Why do you avoid my eyes? Are you afraid of what you find?
The one and only Dr. Dawg here, welcoming you to Bands, the good, bad, and the ugly, bringing you the ins and outs, ups and downs of band life. So let's get to it. Let's rock and roll.
The song you just wrapped your head around was Beneath the Lies by Kaeley Jade. And Kaeley Jade is the doctor's guest. So Kaeley, how are we doing?
I'm great. Yeah, it's been a nice holiday break and I'm feeling really rejuvenated and restful. How are you doing?
The doc is doing good. The doc is doing really good. Thank you for asking. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your music and just touch on some things for the doc and listeners.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, my name's Kaeley Jade. It's really nice to meet you if you haven't heard of me or my music before. I'm an indie folk artist based out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I would say that my music's probably similar to artists like Noah Kahan and Maggie Rogers. And I tend to write a lot about relationships and kind of what they do to us and how they fuel us and feed everything in our lives. And I've been starting to write a little bit more about my own mental health and how relationships can impact that as well.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Well, it's hard to mesh them all together at times. Somebody somewhere, something has to suffer to pursue your career, and that's the way it is. And unfortunately, it happens, and it is part of being an artist. So, what advice can you give starting artists, okay, in bands, that you wish somebody had told you when you first started off?
Yeah, I have a few different takes on that, I think. The first being like specifically like career driven. Definitely learn as much as you can about the industry. Things like attending industry events are super important. So I know in Canada we have a lot of conferences such as like Breakout West and Folk Music Ontario. There's like Canadian Music Week, so finding those and kind of seeing how you can get there and connecting with other artists and other folks in the industry, I think is really, really helpful and very important. And it'll kind of like fast track your knowledge in a way too. Which obviously, knowledge is power, and it's important to be empowered as an artist in this age of information. It's all at your fingertips. So I would definitely advise to get out there and try and learn as much as you can from other people. If you can find someone to mentor you, or even like finding peers and, like talking about stuff, I think is really important. And especially post-COVID, I found like it was really easy to sort of isolate myself and sort of put my blinders on and focus on my own stuff. But in the last year, I've really focused on connecting with other artists and creatives and just sitting down and talking about what's working and what's not working for them, and also in the industry as a whole. So I think that's a great way to inspire change and continue to make the industry a safer place for everybody and more inclusive. So that's kind of number one, I would say, is like knowledge is power. And two is that like sometimes life stuff has to come first. And that was something I learned in university, that one of my professors sort of was like, hey, it's not do or die. At the end of the day, you only have one life. So things like, like weddings and funerals and all of those good family things, friend things, definitely it's okay to prioritize those. And, if people are genuinely good, so they should understand when stuff happens. And I think that that's kind of the way that hopefully things seem to be going too, is that the industry can wait. I think things can wait if you have important stuff that will mean a lot to you and that you might regret not doing or attending or seeing this person or whatever later, that definitely make sure to get out and do that stuff too. It's not all about the career sometimes.
No, and I agree. And you have a life outside your music, and like you said, there's things that come up, there's things that you want to do with that you should be able to, period. Because believe me, time ticks by. Doc's been in this business a long time, so time does tick by, and sometimes you look back and say, I wish. Well, that's hindsight. So it's something you want to learn from that, and that's a beautiful thing you said, because it's true. So I hope a lot of the artists out there are listening to that, not just putting everything into it and excluding everybody else and everything else around them, because it happens. People get wrapped up into that. We've got to get this out. We've got to get this done. We got to do this. We've got to do that, and it does, suffer other parts and other parts of the family too. So that's just part of the industry. So I'm glad. I'm glad I keep hearing you reiterate that about taking time for yourself and enjoying what's around you instead of just immersing yourself totally into your music. And what I'd also love is what you said about connecting with other artists. So by that, I gather that you have like a little group of people around you and around the area that you guys collaborate with and talk with and socialize with. Is that correct?
Yeah, I definitely have been making some friends in the community, which has been so nice. I come from mostly a theater background, so a lot of my community was sort of more in the theater scene.
Right.
So I've been really trying to invest more in my relationships in music and in the people around me in the music industry. So that's been really, honestly, it's been so fueling for me. And, like getting out there and jamming more, that's something that I never really used to do when I was younger. But it's something that I genuinely, truly enjoy now, and I've been trying to do it a lot more, and that's been so good for my creative spirit.
Yeah, and you know what? Nothing beats more than jamming like that. And we do learn from the years past. But you know what? Dropping at you right now is years ago from Kaeley Jade.
Where can we go from here? Where can we go from here? A compass can't help us, we're tangled in wilderness, dear. Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? We're twirling and biting, a couple of wolves, aren't we, dear? But we're losing the spark, we're losing the heart that we had. Oh, I wish I had the time to say what's on my mind, but I can't. And I wish that I had known you before this was a war zone, before I called the soldiers, before my love was colder. Oh, I wish that I had known you, I wish that I had known you years ago. Why is it so hard to speak? Why is it so hard to speak? We used to call for hours, stay up laughing on the phone, we wouldn't sleep. Feels like I'm stuck in between. Feels like I'm stuck in between. No doors will open, the windows are locked, I'm trapped in here. But we're losing the spark, we're losing the heart that we had. Oh, I wish I had the time to say what's on my mind, but I can't. And I wish that I had known you before this was a war zone, before I called the soldiers, before my love was colder. Oh, I wish that I had known you, I wish that I had known you years ago. But we're losing the spark, we're losing the heart that we had. Oh, I wish I had the time to say what's on my mind, but I can't. And I wish that I had known you before this was a war zone, before I called the soldiers, before my love was colder. Oh, I wish that I had known you, I wish that I had known you years ago. And I wish that I had known you before this was a war zone, before I called the soldiers, before my love was colder. Oh, I wish that I had known you, I wish that I had known you years ago. Oh, I wish that I had known you, I wish that I had known you years ago.
Nice song. I like your voice. I really like your voice a lot.
Thank
So,
you.
No, thank you for putting out the music you do. So can you share with us any upcoming releases or projects that you've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of in creative mode right now. I have a hard time writing when I'm kind of in the middle of releasing, so I've been taking a step back through the fall and kind of through the winter, and I've been, yeah, just trying to write as much as possible. So got lots of new music kind of in the works, percolating, and getting some demos done right now. So hopefully getting some new music out in the next like year, it's kind of all like, kind of nebulous, but that's the plan. But definitely going to be touring again this summer throughout Canada. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Well, that's really good to hear. So make sure you let us know and the listeners know when and where, so we can put that support out to you. But Flying at You Now is Here, Just Like You by Kaeley Jade.
Small, half smile, big heavy sky, white street lights dance in your eyes, standing on the edge, but who will jump first? It's a shrouded abyss, and we're fearing the worst. I know you're scared, but baby, I'm scared too. I've been wounded before by one just like you. Draws rivers on glass. Inside your arms, I'll forgive my past. We don't say a word, but our eyes tell our secrets. We're losing control, and we're fighting to keep it. I know you're scared, but baby, I'm scared too. I've been wounded before by one just like you. If you let your guard down, I'll let mine down too. Been in love once before with one just like you. I know you're scared, but baby, I'm scared too. I've been wounded before by one just like you. I know you're scared, but baby, I'm scared too. I've been wounded before by one just like you. If you let your guard down, I'll let mine down too. Been in love once before with one just like you.
So Kaeley, looking back at your journey as an artist, and how has it changed, your life, maybe your music, your direction, your sound? How do you think that's changed?
Wow. I guess like I started performing really young. So I did my first musical when I was 8 years old. I played Gretel in Sound of Music.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
originally it was
that's
going
really
to
cool.
choir. Yeah. But after that, I was originally going to go into choir, and then we were kind of looking for different things for me to join at like 9. And then we came across this like pop vocal studio that was sort of doing lessons and encouraging performance in the community. So I joined that, and then I started performing kind of around Alberta from a really young age. So when I was about that age, obviously I was listening to a lot of like Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus, like those were artists, and Celine Dion, honestly, has been an inspiration of mine forever and ever. So I was kind of really really drawn to those sounds, and then as I grew up, I definitely take a lot more influence from folk music and indie rock. I think those are both genres that have really touched my heart, in like probably the last decade or so. So I think like all of those things sort of shape the sound that I'm doing now.
You can tell that in your sound and in your music that that kind of that combination of those two together. So that's cool how you stated that too. Because I was trying to think, how do I kind of put it into that genre that you're supposed to be put into, and it's hard to do sometimes, and a lot of artists have a issue with that. So tell us about, and I think just by talking to you this just a little bit of time that I kind of know what you're going to say, but tell us the sacrifices you've had to make
Mm.
to get to where you are now in your music career.
Yeah, definitely. I think like life at the end of the day is about balance. I know my life is a lot about finding balance, and that's something that I really struggle with. Especially like my career versus my personal life. I put a lot of brain energy into my career, which is great. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I think like definitely to like be successful, quote unquote, whatever that means to you. I think you definitely have to have a passion and a drive
Yes.
for achieving things and for creating. So it's great, but then there's sometimes obviously that comes at a cost, and that can be like mental health. Like definitely I struggle with, like anxiety and depressive episodes, as a lot of people do.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, definitely trying to figure out how to match those things and find a balance between going all in all the time and also taking a step back and finding an ability to relax. I'm not very good at relaxing. Like I'm I'm definitely like a I'd like to fill my time, and I need to fill my time. So honestly, doing things like like exercising and getting outside are really important in my own routine and my own life to find that balance. If I'm moving my body, I kind of can move my thoughts along, and I stop spiraling a little bit sometimes. So that's really nice. Definitely like connections with other people. I've learned are super valuable for me. Um, Obviously, as they are for a lot of other people, but I think that like my family and my friendships are so important to me and who I am. They're like kind of at the core of myself and my values. So finding ways to really have a chance to connect with others, and just like being fully in uh, when you're spending time with people, like being present. I think presence is very very important. So yeah, definitely trying to find a middle ground that works for everything is hard all the time, but still trying. I've made lots of progress, lots of backslides, still figuring it out.
You're real hyper. You really are hyper. I mean, I can just tell. But you got that passion, and you've got that love, and you've just got that big smile when you're talking about, your career, and even with your family and your friends, and even just like you said, I take this little routine for me. A lot don't do that, and I'm just sitting here listening to you, and my mouth kind of dropped open. It's just like shit. I mean, what she's saying is so true, but it's all hindsight to a lot of people at this
Hmm.
point. You know what? It's not something I'm doing forward. It's something I wish I'd done back, and you can't do that. You can't reverse that.
Absolutely.
And you've got such good wisdom. I mean, shit, I've been on this earth probably a lot longer than you even thought about being born. And you've got some wisdom, I have to say. And I hold a PhD, and it's just like I'm amazed at what's coming out of your mouth. So Doc gives you love and kudos for that, because that's just phenomenal. The way that you put it. And again, I hope you guys are listening, because this is like for Doc, kind of like a mouth opening interview, because I'm just going, damn, what she's saying, it just all hits really hard. And it's because, again, it's hindsight for me. And not now, I've corrected that, but I've got, like I said, years in the business that what you're saying was never even thought of, because you always push forward and everything always came second.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
because we didn't have social media back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have all this stuff. So we had to get out and work and make a name for yourself and a following. And if you didn't do that, you didn't have it. And so it was a lot harder. So what you're saying is, and I hope to a lot of our supporters, our artist friends, they're gonna have the same feeling as Doc has, because I know they watch the interviews. It's like, man, this is hindsight for us, and we wish we had you telling us this when we first started. To be honest with you, that's just the truth. So, but I tell you what, spinning off the table right now is Poltergeist by Kaeley Jade. Phenomenal song, guys.
Here we are at the end. 3 a.m. Will you appear? You're gone again. You're rattling my teeth. You send shivers down my spine. Lately I've been wondering if I wanna call you mine. I need more than the ghost of you. I need more than your ghost. I need more than the ghost of you. Let me go. What to do about a poltergeist shaped like you? Go, get out of here. The witching hour is drawing near. You're rattling my teeth. You send shivers down my spine. Lately I've been wondering if I wanna call you mine. You're a cold spot in the corner. Footsteps down the hall. Lately I've been wondering if you even care at all. I need more than the ghost of you. I need more than your ghost. I need more than the ghost of you. Let me go. Phantom haunting, lights out or fade into black. Phantom howling, now baby I'll howl back. You're rattling my teeth. You send shivers down my spine. Lately I've been wondering if I wanna call you mine. You're a cold spot in the corner. Footsteps down the hall. Lately I've been wondering if you even care at all. I need more than the ghost of you. I need more than your ghost. I need more than the ghost of you. Let me go. I need more than the ghost of you. I need more than your ghost. I need more than the ghost of you. Let me go.
I was just listening to that before we got on, and I love that song. It was just a great song. It really was. So, Tell us some of the most challenging aspects of life on the road. Because there are many, so I'm going to let you pick which ones you want to tell the doc, but so tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, I'm new to touring and I book my own shows. So last year was a lot of learning curves for me. We ended up playing about like 60 shows in 2023, which was like so awesome, and I wouldn't trade it for
Great.
anything. Yeah, definitely like learned a lot of things. I don't know how I did this because I definitely like I have a lot of spreadsheets to keep track of everything, but somehow I booked my ferry going from Vancouver to Nanaimo backwards. So I don't know how I did it. We show up like 6 a.m. ferry. We're like, yeah, let's go play our show. And they're like, you did it wrong. Like you're supposed to be leaving from Nanaimo, coming here. We can't let you on. It's full. So that was awful. So, it's like those little things. We figured it out. We drove to a different terminal and they did have space. So it did work out. But there was a moment where I was in tears. I was like, what did I do? I'm so dumb. Oh my God. So yeah, definitely double check your bookings. That's something I've learned. I've learned that there's only really so much driving you can do before you really hate driving. So also something just with scheduling, I kind of learned it was like, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea to drive from Vancouver all the way to Golden, play a show, and then drive all the way to Calgary. So that's quite a distance. Won't do that again, hopefully. Sometimes you have to because you have to, and that's the way it is. But I won't willingly do that. Also learned that Hyundai Kona is not big enough to fit a guitar in the back. So that was so it kind of very much clown car vibes because that particular time we had to rent a vehicle when we were in Toronto. And it was like five band members, including myself, and plus all of our guitars on our laps in the back seat. We're like trying to peek over because nothing would fit in the trunk because there was no space. So just like those sort of lessons. I've definitely learned that. I'm very fortunate to have a really solid group of band members that I can really rely on. So I feel like our touring times together have been really, really nice, and it's felt more like a group of friends hanging out. So that's been I'm very blessed for that. Definitely, like choosing good people to surround yourself with, to create with, and to be on your team, I think is that already you're just set for life if you can find that. So I'm fortunate for that. That's made a lot of things a lot easier. What else? Oh, don't leave your piano stand in a different town. That's something I learned. Got to rent gear. So it's a bunch of things, but good things.
Yeah.
Good lessons.
Well, they all can be good lessons. The bad things, the good things. They're all lessons if you look at it that way. Instead of it's a tragedy, you have to look at it as a lesson and learn from it. Some do, some don't. The ones that don't just keep repeating the same lesson. So, that's just the way it is. But burning up through the air right now is Ego by Kaeley Jade.
Stop and think how I could have avoided you if I just stayed home. Heard the warnings, now I'm a little drunk and I'm vibing in the corner with the coats. Was a minor thing, I turned to something looming, crashing over, and I'm drowning. But since it's not my style, I'm trying not to make a scene. My heart proved more fragile than your ego. All the words that I hurled didn't bite, didn't tear you apart. 10 deep breaths and I'll scatter like the snow. If I could let it go, then I would, but it's so damn hard. 1,000 lights are flashing, pulsing, blinding. I'm the epicenter, and I'm finding the voices speaking out, laugh too loud, ripping through my veins. My heart grew more fragile than childish hopes. I wish you hated me over empathy. I don't care how you feel, but it kills me that you don't. My heart proved more fragile than your ego. All the words that I hurled didn't bite, didn't tear you apart. Dandy breaths and I'll scatter like the snow. If I could let it go, then I would, but it's so damn hard. Dandy breaths and I'll scatter like the snow. If I could let it go, then I would.
That's another great song. You have just a great voice. You really do.
Thank
You really
you.
do. You know, and so I know that you're not, I don't want to say you're a baby on the touring circuit and playing and stuff, because you're not. You're far from that. But you know, every artist at one point has played, you know, again in the studio or live, and just made a mistake, and a very noticeable mistake. Not just something that sometimes you could just bypass and go, man, they didn't know that. I played the wrong chord, or I said the wrong words, or, you know, it all kind of flowed together, you know, but one that really sticks out, you know, really noticeable.
Yeah, I feel like I can approach that more from like a theater sense. I think that I've definitely dropped lines, because I'm also an actor, so a lot of that has come from more the acting side, I would say. Like definitely, it's nice to have other people have your back. You know, like I haven't done a solo show before, like for theater. Like that would be terrifying to me. But definitely like dropping lines, you're like, oh, I have just complete blank. Happens in music too, you know, you're just like, I don't know what's coming next. So how do you deal with it in the moment? I think. And I honestly, I took clown during university. So I have a few solid months of like clown training. And that's taught me a lot about how to deal with mistakes, and how the crowd perceives mistakes. Because I think that there's a really fine line that you kind of have to make a judgment in the moment on, like, is this something that people will notice? And like, if it is, what do you do? Because at the end of the day, like you're entertaining. So trying to find ways to either like acknowledge it in a way that, you know, like isn't like, oh man, like, oh, I made a mistake, this sucks, boo. But kind of trying to either acknowledge it, or on the opposite side of that, it's like, can I just do something totally different that'll be kind of improvised and surprising, and maybe people won't notice it. So like, you know, like if I forget a line in music, it's just like, okay, well, either I'm gonna sing maybe the same part again and maybe people won't notice. Maybe I'll just make something up. I could scat. I could just skip that part. Like just try to find ways to do those stuff. Wrong chords, you know, obviously those happen, and just you pray that they aren't noticeable in the mix of stuff. But definitely I've had lots of training and just being like, this didn't happen. Nobody knows. And it's like, if I don't pick up on it, then no one else will. And you don't always get that. Sometimes obviously there's like very obvious things and you're just like, you know what? Maybe you started on the wrong capo, which I've definitely done here and there. And it's just like, hey, haha, this is hilarious. I messed up. Let's start over. And then people are always very gracious about that too.
So wait a minute. You took clown courses?
I did. Yeah, I have my clown.
No, you got to tell me what is a clown course?
Yeah,
is that to be a clown? Is it to be like a clown? Really?
Well, clown is like a performance art, not necessarily like birthday clown. You know, like you wouldn't have someone doing, like the clown that I would learn is not exactly the same thing as like, you know, the clown who makes balloon animals at a birthday party. It's a little bit different of an art. But actually it's a long conversation, but I'll try and bridge it down. So basically you're kind of like, it's learning how to be like completely honest on stage. That was my biggest lesson that I learned in clown. Because like the true humor comes from like full openness and full acknowledgement of what you're feeling. So it's like being genuine with how you feel and sharing that with the audience, I guess, is like a very, very dumbed down version of that, but it taught me a lot about performing in general. Like I definitely super value that. Anyone who wants to act or entertain in any way, I think like clown was so valuable for me. And also just getting out of my head and being present. Because if you're like really truly in the moment, like you're able to like flow with everything that's happening and, you know, adapt and respond. And I think like that was so awesome for me. Plus it's like it's wacky, and I love doing like wacky stuff, like theater stuff, like the weird stuff is stuff that I'm very drawn to.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I just wanted to clarify that, because when you said that, I you know, what popped into my head was, you know, the clown that entertains you at birthday parties. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this can't be. And I think if I thought that, the listeners are going to think the same thing. She took what? Clown courses to be a clown? It's like, see, I'm glad you clarified that. That's why I wanted to ask you about that, because, you know, things like that I pick up on, and it's like, if I'm wondering about it, I know somebody else has got to wonder about it. So I always try to address it. So thank you for that. I know it was a condensed version, but you know, I got a lot out of it, and I know the listeners are too. So share a story to the doc about bandmates, okay, their disastrous romantic relationships that affected the band's dynamics, because it happens. We know it happens.
Oh, totally. Honestly, just to spin this, like I'm very blessed. Like my partner is my guitarist, and my bassist and pianist are fiancéed. So we're very lucky. Everything is usually like quite good. Everyone's like pretty hunky dory.
Cool.
But you know, like there's obviously we have a fifth member, and there's been a few times too, like in his own personal life that like stuff has happened. And I know there was one show that we had. We were supposed to be playing at Jackfish Lake. Now in Jackfish Lake, like there are 3 of them in Alberta. So we did try to be clear. We're like, hey, like we're playing at this Jackfish Lake in East Central Alberta. But I know something had happened that day, and he was pretty like in his head about stuff. So he calls us. He's like, okay, like I'm an hour away. Like I'm heading towards like Edson. We're like, Edson is west, my friend. So so we had to kind of make a whole bunch of plans and try and figure out like what to do if he didn't make it in time. He did. Like we were sound checking, like line checking right before our set. He rips into the campground and like runs. So it worked out, but it was a little touch and go there for a little bit. We're like, well, we might have to borrow someone else's drummer, and they just might have to figure it out on the fly. I don't know.
Well, as a drummer, I can say we can usually pick the fly up pretty easy, but you never know. But that's a good thing that he showed up and it all happened out. So I'm going to ask you like a last question I like to ask, and I know the majority of the artists that I've talked to at one point or another have just, you know, basically said, you know what, I'm done. Okay, I'm not going to do this anymore for whatever reasons. You know, it's just too much. The industry is just bad. It's too hard. Too many crappy artists out there taking up the space of the platforms that shouldn't even be on there, where a good artist like you should be more highlighted and elevated. So you get to a point it's real disappointing, and you just say, you know what, I'm done. So I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you, have you ever been there?
Oh yeah, I think that this happens lots. Like I think it's really easy to get discouraged because there's so much rejection in this industry. And definitely like from both sides too. Also being an actor too, I feel like I just hear 1 million no's for every yes. But you know, I think it's definitely like cherishing the yeses that come along, which I'm not very good at, admittedly. Like I do want to be better at celebrating my victories, no matter how big or small. Instead of constantly being like, okay, what's next? It's like, okay, take some time, just relish the good stuff that's happening. So definitely I've totally been there, but I'm also really lucky to have other passions in my life as well. So if something's not really fueling me creatively at the time, like it's nice to be able to be like, okay, like maybe music isn't giving me everything that I want it to be right now. So like maybe I can focus a little bit more on acting right now. or vice versa. So for me personally, that's been so helpful, is like kind of going with what fuels me the most, and keeps me going creatively. But I mean, even hobbies too. Like I recently started playing co-ed soccer.
Cool.
And I used to do sports in high school. Like I played sports all through junior high, all through high school. And that was a really big part of my life. And obviously like performing, and whether it's like theater or music and stuff, like obviously your evenings are generally gone. So I kind of stepped away from sports for a little bit. But in my time of creativity and rest and rejuvenation and all that fun stuff that I've been focusing on in the fall, it's been really nice to discover that part of myself again, because that was a huge part of my identity that I'd sort of just set aside. But I hope for everybody that they can find, maybe not, some people need one thing, but when the one thing isn't necessarily cutting it for you, I think it's cool to branch out and find other things that can fill your cup in other ways. And honestly, sports in specific, I think that there's so many parallels between performing on stage and playing sports. And that was something I didn't really realize until I did my degree in theater. I kind of played volleyball here and there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many things that I can take from this and apply it to stage, and vice versa. It's all flow. Like it's finding concentration and performing under pressure. Like those are all things. So yeah, I always encourage people, if they're feeling stuck, to go somewhere else and try something new even, and just see what you can bring from that. I think it's like the new experiences that really fuel us creatively. So finding those is good. And I think that definitely helps, because then when you're ready, you can come back to it feeling rejuvenated and different and changed in a good way. So when you're ready to return, you're able to, and not hate your job and hate your life as much. That's what I say. I don't know.
I think the show's going to be now Dr. Kaeley with guest Dog. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. What I can believe, here's Kaeley Jade with Painless.
It'd been so long, I had forgotten that the war is still on. I couldn't see what I was standing on. Now a landmine's trigger set to go off, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't know, since we went through this before. Stayed away, put those feelings to rest, but I say that it started again. I was wrong when I thought that you knew best, 'cause look at this big mess, you said it'd be painless. Bright, sharp edge, I'm digging shrapnel from my tender chest. I set the metal on your window ledge, so the sun glints off the twisted mess. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't know, since we went through this before. Stayed away, put those feelings to rest, but I say that it started again. I was wrong when I thought that you knew best, 'cause look at this big mess, you said it'd be painless. I can see that you're working on changing, but with you it's just more of the same thing. I was wrong when I thought that you knew best, 'cause look at this big mess, you said it'd be painless. Look what you're putting me through. What are we gonna do? Look what you're putting me through. Why do we gotta choose? But I'd be lying if I said I didn't know. Was there any other way that we could go? Stayed away, put those feelings to rest, but I say that it started again. I was wrong when I thought that
you really are saying some stuff that's just like I'm going, oh my gosh. So Kaeley, tell us, the doc and the listeners, where can we find your music, your videos, any merchandise, any upcoming dates, if you release them, your schedule for playing, where you're going to be. Tell us where we can find that stuff at.
Absolutely. My website is probably the number one place that you can find everything all the time. I try and keep it updated. So that would be www.kaeleyjade.com. My name's spelled kind of weird, so that'd be KAELEYJADE.com. So you can definitely check that out for all of my upcoming shows, all of my releases, my videos. Of course, I'm on social media as well, so you can follow me at Kaeley Jade on Instagram, Facebook, whatever's your vibe, YouTube, and all of my music's on streaming platforms. So whatever you listen to there, you can check it out. I also have CDs and vinyl of my album Turpentine, which are available on Bandcamp or my website, which is linked off to Bandcamp. So if you want a physical copy, if that's like what your vibe is, definitely check those out too.
That's cool. And you said you do have vinyl, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Awesome.
It's purple marble vinyl. It's cool. It took a lot of time to design it, so I'm happy they turned out well.
No, that's all I listen to is vinyl. That's great. So I'll be checking that out for sure and getting me one of those. So if you guys heard it, you know where to go. Okay, go check out Kaeley Jade because she's awesome. She really is. And the doc wants to thank Kaeley Jade for joining him today. It's been definitely a learning experience. No, it really has in a good way. And I truly believe that the listeners are going to get a lot out of this. It's a totally different interview that normally the doc does in a way. But it's so enlightening, and it's so, like I said, hindsight in so many ways for somebody that and again, for me, you're a baby in this industry, and to hear how you talk about the different facets of life, what to do, how to fill yourself instead of just with one thing, which so many artists do, and then they feel lost. And I think they can't get their way out of it. So for everything you said today, the doc really appreciates you too, and I know the listeners are too. So Kaeley, again, thank you so much for joining today. It's been my honor, my pleasure to have you on. And thank you. I want to give again a big shout out to MM Radio and Magpie Sally, Dog Bone Studio, and Matt R, my guru tech that keeps me on the air. Until next Friday, guys, have a great time and be kind to each other. And Kaeley Jade and the doc is out. You guys take care. Later.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Thanks, Kaeley. You've been great. You take care of yourself, okay?
You too.
Bands, the good, bad, and the ugly with Dr. Dawg on MM, the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life.
To infinity and tastiness with MM Radio.